Hello, especially for the Dirty Secrets channel.
Emma awoke to golden sunlight streaming through the sheer curtains of her hotel suite, a smile already forming on her lips before she'd even opened her eyes. Tomorrow. Tomorrow she would become Mrs. Emma Mitchell. Through 3 years with Josh, countless dinner dates, lazy Sunday mornings, and one perfect proposal beneath the stars in Santorini, everything was finally falling into place. Her wedding dress hung by the window, catching the light in a way that made the delicate beadwork shimmer like morning dew. Emma slipped out of bed, padding across the plush carpet to run her fingers over the silk. 24 hours from now, she would be walking down the aisle toward the rest of her life. Morning bride-to-be. Her sister Olivia burst through the connecting door, already dressed and carrying 2 cups of coffee. Ready for your last day as a single woman? Emma accepted the coffee with a grin. I've been ready for 3 years. After a morning of pampering, facials, manicures, and mimosas with her bridesmaids, Emma retreated to her suite for a moment of peace before the rehearsal dinner. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand, drawing her attention away from the window where she'd been watching the venue staff setting up the garden for tomorrow's ceremony. A known number. Probably another vendor confirmation. Emma unlocked her phone and frowned. No text, just a video attachment. Her thumb hesitated over the play button. Something cold and uneasy settled in her stomach, an intuition she couldn't explain. She pressed play. The video was grainy, shot in the dim lighting of what she immediately recognized as the Anchor, a bar 2 blocks from their apartment. Timestamp in the corner read 1:37 a.m. just hours ago. Camera panned across the crowded room before settling on a familiar figure at the bar. Josh. Her Josh. His arm was draped around a blonde woman, his head bent close to hers, laughing at something she said. Emma watched, unable to look away, as he brushed the woman's hair behind her ear, leaned in, and kissed her with the same tenderness he'd shown Emma countless times. The video ended. Emma stared at the black screen, her reflection a ghost of disbelief. It could be an old video, Emma whispered to herself, pacing the hotel room. Could be. But she knew it wasn't. The suit he wore, the same one he'd packed for their rehearsal dinner tonight. She called him. Once. Twice. Straight to voicemail. Her mind raced through every late night at work, every business trip, every time his phone had buzzed and he turned it face down. Had she been blind? Stupid? Naive? She'd trusted him completely, had never once questioned his devotion. Now doubt coursed through her veins like poison. When her phone rang, she lunged for it, but it wasn't Josh. It was her mother. Emma, darling, where are you? Everyone's waiting at the restaurant. I'll be there, she managed, her voice hollow. I just need a minute. Emma arrived at the restaurant with her mask firmly in place, smile fixed, eyes bright with artificial excitement. Only Olivia noticed something was wrong, catching her elbow as they took their seats. Ing? You okay? Not now, Emma whispered, her eyes locked on Josh across the table. He looked the same. That was the most bewildering part. The same Josh who had proposed, who had promised forever, who had spent yesterday morning helping her mother with last-minute wedding details. How could he look the same when everything had changed? She waited until dessert, until the champagne had been poured and the toasts given. Then she excused herself, catching Josh's eye with a meaningful look that he followed without question. In the quiet hallway outside the private dining room, she showed him the video without a word. Emma, I can explain, he said instantly, his face draining of color. It was nothing, a mistake. Cold feet. A momentary lapse of judgment. A momentary lapse? Emma echoed, each word sharp as glass. You're marrying me tomorrow. And I want to. God, Emma, I love you. It was just. Meant nothing. Nothing, she repeated. Then why do it at all? He had no answer. The rehearsal dinner ended in tense silence, with Josh pleading for a chance to explain and Emma unable to look at him. Back in her hotel room, she ignored his calls, sinking into a chair by the window as night fell over the wedding venue below. Her phone buzzed again, another unknown number. This time, she answered. Emma? This is Rachel. The name meant nothing to her. I'm the woman from the video. Emma's fingers tightened around the phone. Why are you calling me? Because you deserve the truth. Rachel's voice trembled. It wasn't just one night. Josh and I have been seeing each other for almost 8 months. He told me you two were growing apart, that the wedding was just for show. Each word hit like a physical blow. 8 months. Almost their entire engagement. I didn't know it was real until yesterday, when he said he couldn't see me anymore because he was getting married for real. I'm so sorry, Emma. I thought you knew. By morning, everyone knew. Emma had called her sister in tears, and within hours, her hotel suite had become command central for damage control. Her mother paced back and forth, phone pressed to her ear. We've paid for everything. Non-refundable deposits. 200 guests, some already in town. The Mitchells have their entire family flying in from Europe. Mom, Emma said weakly. He cheated on me. 4 months. Her father cleared his throat. Sweetheart, marriages weather storms. This is just the first test. The first? Emma laughed bitterly. We're not even married yet. People make mistakes, her mother insisted. Is one indiscretion worth throwing away your future? Think about what you're doing, Emma. Candles fade. Divorce is forever. Even Olivia, after her initial outrage, began to waver. Maybe you could postpone? Take some time to think. Emma felt suffocated by their practicality, their willingness to sweep betrayal under the rug for the sake of convenience. It's your decision, her mother said finally. But sometimes being an adult means accepting imperfection. Desperate for air, Emma slipped out of the hotel and walked to a nearby park, still in her pajamas with a coat thrown over them. She sat on a bench, watching early morning joggers circle the pond, and tried to imagine her life 1 year from now if she went through with the wedding. Emma Bennett. She looked up to see Mark Collins, her high school boyfriend, standing on the path with a golden retriever tugging at its leash. Mark, what are you doing here? I live 2 blocks over, he said, smiling that same crooked smile she remembered. What about you? Last I heard, you were in Chicago. I moved back last year, she said automatically. I'm supposed to be getting married today. Supposed to be? The whole story came pouring out, the video, the confrontation, Rachel's call, her family's pressure. Mark listened without interruption, then sat beside her on the bench. Do you remember senior year? When I cheated on that physics test and you broke up with me? Emma nodded, surprised by the memory. I begged you to forgive me. Said it was just one test, that it didn't define me. I remember. You told me something I've never forgotten. You said, it's not about the test, Mark. It's about the choice you made when things got difficult. You were right. And you deserve someone who makes good choices when things get hard, Emma. Someone who chooses you every time, not just when it's easy. We can get through this, Josh pressed, sensing her hesitation. We can go to counseling. I'll do whatever it takes to rebuild your trust. People overcome bigger challenges than this every day. His thumbs traced circles on the backs of her hands, a familiar gesture that once brought comfort but now felt manipulative. Our families are out there, he continued, nodding toward the main chapel. Our friends. Everyone who loves us and supports our relationship. They believe in us, Emma. Can't you believe in us too? Emma gently extracted her hands from his. That's the problem, Josh. I don't know what to believe anymore. How can I trust anything you say when you've been living a double life? It wasn't a double life, he protested. It was. moments of weakness, mistakes that I regret with every fiber of my being. Vanessa wasn't a moment. She was 3 months. Josh closed his eyes briefly, pain crossing his features. I can't change the past, Emma. I wish I could, but I can't. All I can do is promise you a better future, one where I'm completely devoted to you, to us. But how would I know? Emma asked, the question that had been haunting her all day finally surfacing. How would I ever know for sure that you weren't with someone else when you work late? That business trips were really just business. Josh dropped to one knee, taking her hand again despite her resistance. The gesture, so reminiscent of his proposal, struck Emma as both desperate and calculated. Because I've seen what I stand to lose, he said fervently. I've looked into the abyss of a future without you, and it terrifies me. I would rather die than hurt you again. For a moment, Emma wavered. There was something compelling about his passion, his apparent sincerity. 5 years of loving someone created deep roots that couldn't be easily severed, even by betrayal. We've come too far to give up now, Josh continued, sensing her indecision. Every relationship faces challenges. This is ours. We can overcome it together, come out stronger on the other side. He stood, cupping her face gently. Love conquers all, Emma. Isn't that what we've always believed? That what we have is special, extraordinary? Don't throw away something remarkable because of my mistakes. His eyes were pleading, his voice breaking with emotion. I love you. Only you. Always you. Please, Emma. Give us another chance. For a heartbeat, Emma felt herself leaning toward him, drawn by the gravitational pull of their shared history, the comfort of the familiar, the easier path of forgiveness and reconciliation. Then Michael's words came back to her. You deserve someone who loves you completely and faithfully. Did she really deserve less than complete fidelity? Was she willing to start a marriage with a foundation already cracked, already compromised? I need some time, she said finally, stepping back from his touch. The ceremony doesn't start for another hour. I need to think. Josh nodded eagerly. Take all the time you need. I'll be waiting for you at the altar, hoping with everything in me that you'll walk down that aisle. As Emma turned to leave, Josh called after her. Emma? I really do love you. More than anything. She paused in the doorway but didn't turn around. I believe that you think you do, she said quietly. I'm just not sure it's enough anymore. Church was filled to capacity. 200 guests sat in hushed anticipation, programs fluttering like butterfly wings, heads turning periodically to check the entrance for the first sign of the bridal procession. In the small room off the narthex, Emma stood in her wedding gown, a vision in white lace and pearl beading. Her hair and makeup were perfect, her bouquet of white roses and lilies clutched in trembling hands. Through the partially open door, she could see her father waiting, resplendent in his tuxedo, ready to walk her down the aisle. It's time, sweetheart, he said, checking his watch. The music's about to start. Emma nodded, unable to form words past the tightness in her throat. The past hour had been a blur of final preparations, of bridesmaids fussing with her train, of her mother dabbing away tears as she placed the veil over Emma's face. Through it all, Emma had moved like a sleepwalker, her mind elsewhere, wrestling with the most difficult decision of her life. Now the moment of truth had arrived. The organist began playing the processional music. The bridesmaids lined up, Lily giving Emma's hand a final squeeze before taking her place at the front of the line. Ready, princess? Her father asked, offering his arm. Emma took a deep breath, looking into her father's proud face. She'd spent her whole life trying to please him, to be the perfect daughter. Would today be the day she finally disappointed him? Can I ask you something, Dad? She said, her voice barely audible over the music. Of course, but we should hurry. When Mom found out about your indiscretions, Emma interrupted. How did she handle it? Her father's expression froze, shock replacing the practiced smile. She told you about that? Emma nodded. He sighed heavily. It was the darkest period of our marriage. She was devastated, as she should have been. I'd broken her trust in the worst way. But she forgave you? Eventually. Not right away. Took time, counseling, a lot of work on my part to prove I could be trusted again. He studied her face carefully. Emma, has something happened with Josh? She hesitated, then nodded again. Her father's jaw tightened. That's why you've been so distant today. He's been unfaithful. Multiple times with multiple women, Emma confirmed, relieved to finally tell her father the truth. Her father's expression darkened. And you're just telling me this now? Minutes before the ceremony. Mom and Rachel thought I should go through with the wedding anyway, Emma explained. To avoid scandal, to protect your reputation. My reputation? Her father looked genuinely shocked. Emma, nothing, not my career, not public opinion, nothing is more important than your happiness. His eyes softened as he took in her anguished expression. If you don't want to marry Josh, we'll walk out the side door right now. I'll handle the guests, the press, everything. Tears welled in Emma's eyes at his unexpected support. But you and Mom, you worked through it. Maybe Josh and I could too. Her father was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. Your mother and I have been married for 15 years when my lapse in judgment occurred. We had a foundation of trust built over years, children together, a shared life. You and Josh haven't even begun that journey. He squeezed her hand gently. The question isn't whether you could work through it, many couples do. Question is whether you want to begin your marriage with this weight, this doubt. Through the door, Emma could see the last bridesmaid beginning her procession down the aisle. In moments, it would be her turn. I don't know what to do, Dad, she whispered. Her father straightened his shoulders. Then let me make it simple. We'll go in there, and when the minister asks if anyone objects to this union, I'll stand up and object. You won't have to say a word. Emma's eyes widened. You'd do that? In a heartbeat. No man who can't be faithful to my daughter deserves her hand in marriage. His expression softened again. But Emma, this is your decision. Your life. What do you want? The wedding coordinator appeared in the doorway, gesturing urgently. It's time. Everyone's waiting. Emma looked down the long aisle to where Josh stood at the altar, handsome and outwardly perfect. From this distance, she couldn't see the flaws in his character, the lies in his past. She saw only the man she had loved, the future she had planned. Then her gaze shifted to the guests, friends, family, colleagues, all watching expectantly. Her mother in the front row, dabbing at her eyes. Rachel beside her, smiling encouragingly. In the back, she spotted Michael, who must have slipped in after his presentation. He caught her eye and gave her a small nod, as if to say, remember who you are. Remember what you deserve. The wedding coordinator was practically bouncing with impatience. Ms. Williams, please. We're falling behind schedule. Emma took a deep breath, looked up at her father, and made her decision. I know what I want to do, she said firmly. The wedding march swelled through the church as Emma appeared in the doorway on her father's arm. A collective intake of breath from the assembled guests greeted her appearance, a vision in white, the epitome of bridal perfection. At the altar, Josh stood tall and handsome, a tentative smile of relief spreading across his face as their eyes met across the length of the aisle. His best man patted him discreetly on the shoulder, a silent congratulation that the bride had appeared after all. Emma began the slow procession, her steps measured and deliberate. With each step, memories flooded her mind, the good times with Josh, the laughter, the dreams, the plans, but also the lies, the betrayal, the shattered trust. She thought of her mother, who had chosen to forgive, to rebuild, to remain. She thought of Vanessa, whose honesty had come too late but had provided the truth Emma needed. She thought of Michael's words about deserving complete faithfulness, about honoring her own worth. Halfway down the aisle, Emma paused. A murmur rippled through the congregation. Her father leaned close. "Are you all right?" he whispered. Emma squeezed his arm in reassurance. "I'm fine," she replied softly. "I just need a moment." In that moment, standing in the middle of the church with hundreds of eyes upon her, Emma achieved perfect clarity. Path forward wasn't about what others expected, what was easiest, or what would cause the least disruption. It was about being true to herself, about beginning her life with or without a partner on a foundation of honesty and respect. She resumed walking, her pace slightly quicker now, her steps more determined. When they reached the altar, her father placed her hand in Josh's, as tradition dictated. But as the minister began to speak, Emma gently withdrew her hand. "Before we continue," she said, her voice clear and steady despite the microphone's absence, "I have something to say." The minister faltered, confused by the deviation from the carefully rehearsed ceremony. Josh's expression shifted from joy to apprehension. Emma turned to face the congregation, her veil framing rather than hiding her face. "I want to thank you all for coming today, for your love and support of Josh and me throughout our relationship." Her mother's eyes widened in alarm. Her father stood tall beside her, a silent pillar of support. "A wedding should be the beginning of a marriage built on love, respect, and above all, trust," Emma continued. "It should be a celebration not just of love, but of two people who are committed to honoring each other completely." She turned to look at Josh, whose face had drained of color as he began to realize what was happening. "Josh, I have loved you for 5 years. I thought I knew you completely, thought we shared everything. But I've learned that wasn't true." A collective murmur rose from the guests. From the corner of her eye, Emma saw her mother half rise from her seat, only to be gently restrained by Rachel. "I received a video this morning," Emma continued, her voice unwavering. "A video showing Josh kissing another woman at his bachelor party last night. When confronted, he admitted to an ongoing relationship with this woman, one of several indiscretions during our engagement." Gasps and whispers rippled through the church. Josh closed his eyes briefly, his shoulders slumping in defeat. "Many people, including some I love dearly, advised me to go through with the wedding anyway," Emma said. "To forgive, to move forward, to preserve appearances. And forgiveness is important. It's something I will work toward in the coming days and weeks." She paused, looking out at the sea of shocked faces. But a marriage needs more than forgiveness. It needs trust. And once broken, trust must be earned back, not assumed, not granted automatically, and certainly not guaranteed by a wedding ceremony. Emma turned back to Josh, whose eyes now shimmered with unshed tears. "I care for you too much to enter a marriage already compromised by lies. I respect myself too much to settle for less than complete faithfulness and honesty." With steady hands, she removed her engagement ring. "I'm not saying we can never find our way back to each other, but I am saying that I won't be getting married today." She placed the ring in Josh's palm, closing his fingers gently around it. "I hope you find the clarity and commitment that has been missing. I hope you discover what truly matters to you." Then Emma turned to the stunned congregation. "I apologize for the inconvenience, but there will be no wedding today. However, there is a fully catered reception at the Grand Hotel that would be a shame to waste. Please join us there, not for a celebration of marriage, but for a celebration of truth, self-respect, and new beginnings." With those words, Emma gathered her train over her arm and walked back down the aisle alone, her head held high. Her father quickly fell into step beside her, his face a mixture of pride and concern. As she passed the pews, reactions varied from shock to disapproval to quiet nods of respect. Michael, standing in the back, gave her a smile of unmistakable admiration. The heavy church doors closed behind her with a resounding thud as Emma stepped into the bright sunshine. For the first time that day, she took a deep, unrestricted breath. The future stretched before her, unwritten and uncertain, but indisputably her own. Her father squeezed her shoulder. "Are you all right?" Emma smiled, surprising herself with how genuine it felt. "No," she admitted, "but I will be." Behind them, the church doors opened as guests began to exit, voices raised in excited discussion of what they had just witnessed. Emma's mother hurried toward them, her expression a complex mixture of worry and grudging respect. "Well," she said, straightening Emma's veil with trembling hands, "that certainly wasn't the wedding I expected." "I'm sorry, Mom," Emma began, but her mother shook her head. "Don't apologize. Took me years to find the courage you showed in there today." She glanced back at the church, where Josh remained inside, presumably dealing with his groomsmen and the debris of canceled promises. "I just hope you're prepared for the aftermath." Emma nodded, knowing the coming days would bring difficult conversations, painful realizations, and the complicated logistics of unwinding what was supposed to have been a lifetime commitment. "I'm not," she admitted, "but I'd rather face the pain of truth than live with the slow poison of lies." As if on cue, her phone chimed with a text message. Emma smiled at the familiar name on the screen. "Michael." "That was the bravest thing I've ever seen. When you're ready, no pressure, no rush, I'd love to buy you a coffee and catch up properly." "You're extraordinary, Emma Williams." Emma slipped the phone back into the hidden pocket of her wedding dress. The future might be uncertain, but it was hers to shape with honesty, courage, and self-respect. And for now, that was enough. The end.
Thank you for watching. If you liked the story, like, subscribe to the channel and share with your friends. Thank you.